Good evening, everyone. Hello, and welcome to the second edition of On Record with FIC. As we venture into a new series, See the Money, wherein we'll be discussing just about everything from the importance of financial literacy to up and coming investment avenues. We at the Finance and Investment Cell of College of Vocational Studies operate with the sole motive of making the seemingly daunting field a bit more comprehensible and approachable for the masses.
This is Ursh, your host for the day, and for today's episode, we have with us Mr. Kshitij Gupta, the head of marketing at the cell, and our guest for the day, Mr. Akshay Singh, the community manager at CoinDCX. With out-of-the-world inputs on all things finance, Mr. Akshay Singh is truly a force to be reckoned with. So, sir, would you like to take a moment to reminisce over your journey thus far?
Sure. Thanks, Kshitij. Thanks, Harsh. It's truly a delight for me to being here among you guys and sharing the insights and some really interesting information related to cryptocurrency and blockchain and how it is going to impact or shape the finance as we know and we interact with today. Uh, before we even get there, yes, a brief introduction about me would be I'm working in the cryptocurrency and blockchain space since 2017. And I've been involved on the community front with CoinDCX. As you mentioned, I'm working as a community manager at CoinDCX.
And with that, moving on with the first thing. So, sir, what according to you prompts the need for exploring alternatives investment avenues like crypto other than debt and equity?
It makes more sense to explore, or it doesn't make sense to to limit yourself to a certain category or a certain uh, basket of assets, you can say, or financial instruments to which you will have exposure to, right? In today's time and the age that we live in, right, the digital one, wherein you're connected with everything, you have the information at your at your fingertips related to anything and everything that you want to, you can evaluate things, right? uh, it's not just the information which is available out there, it is a lot of opportunity and options as well which are available out there, right? Even when it comes to financial instruments and products. uh, However, what comes with that is, and you know I mean, catering to the question that you have just asked, what you know why there is this need for other for exploring other alternative investment assets like crypto or any other investment assets apart from debt and equity. So now traditionally, debt market or the equity market or any other financial assets that you have seen, you have interacted with, and uh, they have been a very, so you can say they have been a very thoroughly time and tested financial products to which you have a certain way of measuring or gauging their performance, right, in the past, and then taking some informed decision on top of that. uh, but at the same time, if you look at the way they have performed, right, it's it's very slow in nature. The need for alternative investment class or assets like crypto is because all the traditional assets, be it debt market, be it equities, be it commodities, right, they all have had that fair share of their journey already, wherein uh, it will not get you that early mover advantage that you may need in order to grow your portfolio, grow your assets, and grow your value uh, in as keeping up with the pace of today's day and age and time. So that's where the need comes for to look into alternative investment class.
So that makes sense, sir. So while we are still on the subject of crypto assets, do you feel that the increasing popularity of crypto assets is actually justified, or is the hype going to be short-lived?
At the face value of it, when you look at it, right, it might sounds really complex, technical, and a piece that might not make sense in the first go when we talk about cryptocurrencies and blockchain, right? However, at the core of it, which is the technology, right, the blockchain technology in itself, If you'll strip down all the jargons, right? Basically, it's a blockchain. It's just a piece of code. It's a software that is there to manage data, to record and manage data, right? And if you, I mean, for those of you who may not have been following the financial markets that deeply, or the trends in the market that deeply, right? Something has changed over the last 2 years. Okay, over the last 2 years, something has deeply changed in the markets, right? Uh, and it's not just the way of doing business. Uh, it is, you can say, the underlying assets or underlying factors, right, which were leading the market up till now, right? They have been challenged, and in certain cases, they have been, dethroned or replaced with another commodity or asset for taking the markets, in the next phase of whatever you wanna call bull run, or the next phase of growth over the next decade, right? And one of the peculiar thing, or one of the most interesting thing that has happened over the last 2 years, is that for the first time ever, at least in the last 1 century, right, we have seen a commodity trading at a negative value. This particular change, which, or this particular event which happened like back in 2020, and post that, the new wave, right, or the uh, new player that has come into the market, which will be defining, right, which will be the defining piece of the market over the next 10, or over the next decade, you can say, is going to be the data, right? uh, it's going to be very quite popularly be thrown around, if you have not already heard it, that data is the new oil. Okay, so the entire gist of what I mean, the entire reason why I just shared this with you guys is because if data is the new oil, right? So there has to be a mechanism or a system in place for the data to be evaluated, or the data to be valued. And for it to be valued properly, there has to be systems in place for the data to be managed properly and efficiently, right? What is that one particular tool or technology or system that enables you to manage and value data at the same point of time, right? And that is where blockchain comes into picture, or that is what blockchain basically is. As I mentioned, if you strip down all the jargons and all the fancy terms, blockchain is nothing but just a piece of code. It's a software to manage and record data, right? And on top of blockchain exists a token system, or an evaluation system, or a valuation system, which popularly is known as cryptocurrencies, right? That's why you see cryptocurrencies having some value attached to that, right? Now, it may not be the case for every cryptocurrency that you see out there, right? If you are seeing 9,000 cryptocurrencies out there, then I would definitely let you know that, 95% of them are scams, right? Wherein, when I say scams, they might not have the product or the team to pull off whatever they are claiming to pull off, and you may end up losing the value that you have stored there, right? But it's that piece which is going to succeed in terms of properly managing, recording this data, and evaluating it, and sharing this value and this data over internet freely, without any friction, without any middlemen, without any median or any centralized institution or a party to look after it, right? This entire piece, or this entire idea, right, is not gonna be short lived, or it's not just gonna be a short hyped instance, because of the way the markets is gonna structure in itself, or has started structuring in itself, for the next set, or for the next phase of growth over the next decade that we're gonna see.
So honestly, in the present scenario, it is impossible to initiate a discussion on crypto assets and pass over the topic of non-fungible tokens. given their sheer popularity among commoners and celebrities, with eminent personalities like Amitabh Bachchan jumping on the bandwagon. So, do you think NFTs as an investment avenue has a secure future, or is it also a just short game hype?
Yes, there is a lot of hype around it, and the hype which exists currently, right? That particular hype may die down, okay, over next few months or over next few years, but NFTs in itself, right? It's that is going to stay, right? And not just going to stay. That concept or that idea in itself is going to evolve, and not just gonna that it's just gonna evolve. It's gonna evolve and garner more valuation, and more interests from all across the globe, right? At the moment, and what I meant by, because I just said that, the hype will die down, but NFT will idea as a concept will grow. What I mean by that is the hype right now, okay, it is the understanding what most people have around NFT, or even if they don't know about NFT, when they come across NFT and they look for it or they try to understand it, the understanding that they end up having is that NFT is just a piece of a digital art, right, or a digital image which stays on the blockchain or which is there on the blockchain, and it gets some really high valuation for some crazy reason that nobody knows about, and it gets traded, it can be sold, and people are willing to buy it or put their money out for it. But I mean, that is just one part, or you can say that is like, just the very early stage use case or adoption of what NFT could be or NFT is. NFT in itself, what it means basically is nothing but having a very unique identity on blockchain. Okay. So you apply this idea to, tomorrow to your identities. Like in India, we have Aadhaar cards, PAN cards, and all of that system, right? You apply this idea to land registry, apply this idea to, asset registry, anything and everything wherein you think of, the need of documents are there, unique documents are there, and you apply that concept to NFT. And also through NFTs in the same way, you can hold or you can transfer the ownership of something physical into the virtual world, right? That is also a really cool concept or the feature, or you can say, you can call it your superpower that NFT enables you with when you are trying to fuse the digital world and the virtual world together.
Makes sense. I mean, I think, like you mentioned, that like the only way for NFTs hereafter is onwards and upwards. I think one of the reasons can be attributed to like an increasing sense, an increasing desire of ownership. Like, I mean, like, if you gotta have something for yourself, and like it's like your legacy or whatever you call it. But I mean, it stems out of that, and yeah, it makes sense.
And on
Right.
that note, I think we can effectively conclude this conversation. I would like to thank Mr. Akshay for making this session so insightful. Moreover, I'd like to extend my heartful gratitude to all the listeners who tuned in. And before we call it a day, sir, could I take a moment of yours to gauge how was your experience with us today?
Sure, definitely. It was really exciting. Like I was really excited for this session, and it was really interesting.
Thank you so much, sir,
So I'll
for your
be
while.
really looking forward to do this again with you guys in future, for sure.
Same here. So it was a great time to have you here, and we got to know a lot of things about financial markets. I would say the financial world in all, as we were also not aware of the things that you mentioned and the upcoming avenues that you told us. So here's us signing off from this episode, but that's not all. Stay tuned for many more such chapters of finance, for we guarantee all of you fanatics hooked till the very end. Until next time.